Hello, I'm Kenny Leigh of Leigh Associates. Our firm is the largest family law firm in the entire state of Florida. All we do is represent men in family law. That is our exclusive focus. To find out more information, you can go to divorcemenonly.com. I'm here with the director of our firm, David Merritt, and we're going to talk about some general things. A big issue that people do have is just wondering, what are the standards? How does a divorce actually take place? So David, can you please explain how to start a divorce and what are some of the procedures involved?
Absolutely. So the initial procedures for one of the parties, they normally do this through an attorney's office. They file initial paperwork with the court called a petition. It's a petition for dissolution of marriage. One person files that, and then they receive back a summons from the court. And then that documentation is served upon the other party.
Well, let me stop you there.
Sure.
When you say served, how is it served?
Normally that's done through a police officer, somebody like that, or a special process server.
It's physically handed to a person.
Yes.
All right, well, we get this a lot. How about if the person you're trying to serve tries to avoid service? Is there different ways that we can get around that and actually get this person served?
Absolutely. The most effective way to get this thing done is to get them served personally. However, if they do duck service for a period of time, there is a way we can do this through publication, which means that their information is put in the newspaper for a certain period of time, and then the court actually gives them the remedy of saying that they're served.
And there are, of course, a bunch of hoops you have to jump through to make that. That's called constructive service. And then there's also substitute service, somebody's residence. Is that right?
Correct. If somebody's there and admits that the person lives there, the person that is going to be served lives there, and they're over a certain age, then they can accept service on their behalf.
Right. And as always, there are so many different little variations and laws that accompany this that it's better to make sure that you have somebody trained in the area doing it. Okay, so you have somebody get served with papers, whether it's any way we just described. Do they have a certain amount of time that they have to respond to those papers?
Yes, so upon service, upon receiving that initial paperwork, excuse me, they have 20 days to file an answer, what's called an answer.
What if they decide not to file anything?
If they don't file anything within a certain time period, shortly after the 20-day period, they'll be defaulted, meaning the clerk will enter a default against them, and then the other person on the other side, whether they have an attorney or not, can default them and basically get what they want.
Yeah, basically get what they want. Now, I will say in family law matters, the courts will set aside a default fairly easily when there are children involved. So if you default somebody, that doesn't mean it's an automatic slam dunk, that's for sure. Okay, so you get served with papers. They have 20 days to respond. Approximately, just from there until the finish, approximately how long does a divorce take in the state of Florida once a service of process is made? And of course, we're talking in generalities.
Of course. Well, initially, if it can be resolved relatively quickly, you're looking around 3 months time period, around that time. I mean, if it goes to trial, if it has a lot of issues and it becomes drawn out, you're looking at well over a year.
Okay. So you said trial. Now, does it go straight to trial, or is there, for example, do the parties have to go to mediation between service and trial?
Right. So after the initial paperwork is filed, what the parties really should be working on is what we call financial disclosure, which is turning over documentation, bank statements, pay stubs, filling out a financial affidavit. These things are all required by the courts in order to get a divorce.
And of course, our firm would step by step help you with all of this.
Yes, we have paralegals and attorneys that understand this fully and that help our clients step by step.
Okay.
So after the initial discovery, then the parties normally attend to mediation.
Okay. What if your client tells you he knows for a fact that mediation will not work in this case?
Well, sometimes mediation doesn't work, but you never know until you go. But it doesn't matter because the judges, especially in this area, they require mediation. They're going to order that before trial. There's nothing really that the attorney can do to prevent that. So almost every time the judge is going to say, no, I'm going to send this to mediation, because they would rather the parties come to an agreement than for them to hear the case.
Okay, very good. All right. So basically, and I can tell you from experience that most cases do settle, whether they think they can or not at the beginning. So that is basically how a divorce works, from service to finality. And of course, if you don't like the trial, you can appeal it, and we'll talk about that in other videos. Kenny, Leigh Associates is a family law firm, exclusively practice family law, focusing on men's rights. You can find more about us at divorcemenonly.com.